what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're here at the Raiti's Rides household because of the controversy already started with the unveil of the 2022 Subaru WRX. So many of you reached out to me. You want to know about the zonks. You want to know what we think here on Raiti's Rides. Well, this is the moment. So without further ado, let's dive into the 2022 WRX. All right, there it is. There's your 2022 Subaru WRX. We were supposed to get our hands on this at the New York Auto Show this actual month, but guess what? Plans fell apart and they canceled the auto show. But there it is. Obviously, big talkings about the outside exterior appearance. I am not digging it. I definitely have to zonk those major flat black pieces of plastic around all four fenders. I don't know if they're trying to go for a Subaru Crosstrek look on this WRX, but they definitely pulled that off. If they were shooting for that, it definitely has an Outback WRX feel. Now, from the side profile, I am really digging that nice fender flare coming off the rear passenger door going into the actual rear fender, but I feel like the car just has way too much wheel gap. Now, I know Subaru's talking about sticking to their rally bred, and this is why they put the plastic cladding and the car kind of sits up a little higher. I'm not buying it. And if you're saying, well, Joe, what makes you an official on what Subaru's doing with the WRX? Remember, I have been a WRX STI owner for many, many years. I owned a 2006. I wish I never sold it. Looking at this one, I know there's a lot of people that are glad they did not sell their current WRX that they have, especially when at the back. Those tail lights, yes, you get full LED lighting at the front and at the back of the vehicle, but the taillights look like they're off of a Honda Civic. Not really digging the style. There's a large piece of black plastic, gloss black plastic that goes from one taillight to the other. I do like the trunk lid spoiler. That rear diffuser area is a little bit of a mixed bag for me. It's very aggressive. The quad tip exhausts are there, and you know how I feel about having a nice quad tip exhaust layout. But the black plastic, especially around the fender treatment. Now, if you'll notice on the back side of the fender, there is a vent there, and that is a functional piece supposedly to clean up the air as it goes down the side of the vehicle. You'll notice on this particular one, this is the optional 18-inch wheel. So standard is going to be a 17-inch wheel. You'll have the option for an 18-inch wheel at the front of the business. I do like the style of the headlight housing, how it sort of interlocks with the front fascia. You are going to have very, very tastefully done LED daytime running lamps, LED headlights, which is another nice additional touch for lighting technology. But if you notice from this profile, that fender flare is not really flared that much. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, the aftermarket, they'll correct everything. Why do we live in a world where Subaru can't really listen to the current owners, the lovers of the WRX and the STI, and just give it to us how we want it from the factory? Yes, I'm sure the aftermarket industry will definitely play a big role on the WRX and the STI, but like I said, in the bright orange, you can see those body lines a little bit more. I am digging the side sill extension in flat black and the flat black at the front of the vehicle. Now, I can't really see, but from what I read from the photos and everything, I believe there is some aerodynamic functionality to those corner vents. But from the side here, you could clearly see on the back side of that fender flare with the cladding, that functional vent to clean up the air. I've noticed from none of these pictures, where's the performance brake package? Remember, we finally got Brembos on a WRX, and here we are with this 2022 model. I don't see any Brembos. I'm just seeing standard calipers. Now, that trunk lid spoiler, that's always been that nice little touch on a WRX. And remember, we're in the 5th generation. 2002 was the first year that a WRX came to our shores, and that was the Bug-Eye. I fell in love with that vehicle. And it's crazy to think that this is what the offerings, you can see that gloss black plastic underneath the Subaru badge. There's another angle of the wheel setup and how that flat black around the fender treatment. Let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on this WRX? Because I feel like they went backwards. And I'm telling you, I told so many of you, you were like, should I get a 2020? Should I get a 2021? Or should I wait for the 2022 WRX? I'm feeling a little bad for those who waited for this, because if you try to get a WRX now, inventory is super low, and obviously prices are going to be on the higher side. From this angle, I do really dig the hood scoop. You could see how much more it kind of extends up from the current WRX. And remember, I still have my WRX STI Type RA. I'm not getting any urges of selling it right now based off of what we're seeing here from Subaru. Going down the road, it's got some good parts of it, but where is that real rally look? It seems that 2004, 2005 with the blob eye, that really was perfection. Even the Hawkeye, I had a Hawkeye, a 2006 Hawkeye STI. I should have never sold it. Now, I know a lot of us in 2008, including this guy right here, when they went straight up hatchback, we were like, oh, the hatchback, I don't like it. Eventually, we all fell in love with a hatchback. And the funny thing is, so many of us want Subaru to bring a hatchback in return to the lineup. And once again, they have not done that. Now, from this angle, you can see that lower bumper area, a lot of flat black. They say there's some functionality to it. I'm going to have to wait to see it in person. And if you're saying, well, Joe, when are you going to see this? Like I said, we were supposed to see it at the media event for the New York Auto Show. They canceled the New York Auto Show. There is, in a couple weeks, Motorbella, which is technically the Detroit Auto Show for 2021. I'm hoping, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Right now, my dog has his paws crossed that hopefully they'll have the WRX there so we could really look at it together in person. When it comes to handling, this is now the WRX is sitting on the global platform. That means the only vehicle that will be in Subaru's lineup that is not on the global architecture is the BRZ. And that makes sense because that's such a unique vehicle, you know, that's been designed with Toyota specifically. So now sitting on the global architecture, you are going to have a more rigid structure that's supposed to increase handling, increase performance. When we look at the suspension, this is the first Subaru WRX or STI to have adaptive dampers all four corners, depending on how you option it, of course. Now, in the white, it's interesting because the white really shows the angles of the body panels, but it also shows the extra blandness. It just, at the front, those large intakes, how much is functional and how much is blocked off. We're going to have to see if it's going to be a full zonk, a quarter zonk, or a half zonk. That day will be coming hopefully soon at Motorbella. But like I said, I'm glad the hood scoop is there. It is a nice angular piece. You can see how that grille area goes into the front fascia and then into the headlights. And remember, of course, the STI is going to be a little bit different, or maybe a lot different, but it is based off the WRX. But where's my World Rally Blue? Where's gold forged BBS wheels? Subaru did such a great job with marketing and getting this vehicle to be known as something, and now they've totally abandoned it. It just blows my mind. Now, there is a new GT trim that will have drive modes, those electronic dampers. You do have a updated electric power steering rack that's supposed to be quicker steering to help with that handling, with that stability. And then when it looks like weight, that's another thing. How much is this going to weigh overall? Subaru says that they lost some weight by going to aluminum in the front fenders. So that's good news, but overall, what is the weight of this vehicle? But the back, there's just a lot to zonk there. I'm not really feeling it. Now, like I always tell you, wait until you see it in person. Maybe all of this will somehow come together in the full big picture when you have the vehicle in front of you. But if we're basing it, you wanted me, like I said, I'm doing this for you. You wanted me to go over these photos. Right now, I'm just zonking the heck out of the rear end of the vehicle. Quad tip exhaust I like. I like those lower sills that kind of drop down behind the rear wheels and tires. And I like the side sills, but there's a lot to be figured out here, especially with the lighting. You do have that color match shark fin antenna. And I like I said, once again, I think the trunk lid spoiler looks good, but I'm trying to close my eyes and imagine it without the black plastic cladding. I feel like if it was all painting, it would be, if it was all painted, it would be amazing. Also the size of the grille, from this angle, it looks like a Crosstrek or even an Outback with a hood scoop. That's what it looks like right now. And I don't know if that's really, is this what WRX and STI fans really wanted? I don't think so. And it's just very, very interesting that, where's World Rally Blue? How come there's no World Rally Blue in any of these photos? That's such a iconic color. I mean, I remember, and like I said, if you're wondering, well, Joe, what makes you, somebody to talk about this? I remember back in college, I had a neighbor that had a 2.5 RS, a 1998 2.5 RS. I used to drool over that car every time I would go to class, every single day. And then in 2002, when they came out with the WRX, and in 2004, when they finally brought the STI, I was all about it. Engine, new engine, 2.4 liter flat 4 turbocharged engine, obviously taken from the Outback XT, the Legacy XT. Here's the crazy thing. It's got 3 more horsepower than last year's model, or the current year's model, 2021 model. So you're looking at 271 horsepower, the same amount of torque, 258 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you want to look at that in a positive note, it does have 11 more horsepower than an Outback or say the Subaru Legacy XT, but this is the WRX. Does 11 horsepower cut it? There was once upon a time when an STI could take a Corvette 0 to 60. Like I said, once upon a time. Now, transmission, the good news is you're going to have your choice. You get the 6-speed manual, which that's the way I'm going to go, hashtag save the manuals. Or you could go with something that Subaru is calling the Subaru Performance Transmission. I'm hearing a lot of marketing ploy there. It's the CVT that's been revamped. Now, I know I've heard from many people that the CVT in the WRX currently is so much different than any other CVT, but I'm going to go back to where I started. It's a CVT. It's supposed to have an 8-speed kind of feel, 8-speed automatic kind of feel. Why didn't they change that? This was a perfect opportunity to bring some of these major changes, and they did not do that. Now, what I can tell you is that they moved the torque curve from 2,000 RPM to 5,200 RPM. So you're going to get, the torque is going to come in lower. So it's really going to be a lot more linear. We'll see how the drivability is here on Raiti's Rides when we get our hands. Interior, I'm liking the seats. The way that they styled the bolstering, you got the WRX embroidery on the headrest. I am liking the seats on the interior. You're going to also get optional Harman Kardon sound system with 11 speakers. And if you go with the certain options, an 8-way power adjustable seat for the driver. Now, when you go with that GT trim, that's that new trim, the GT trim gives you the drive modes, it gives you the electronic dampers, it also gives you the Recaro seats. And based off of what you're gonna see in these pictures, the Recaro seats have been changed. If you look at my STI Type RA, the backs are Recaros, but the bottoms are just standard STI seats. They really have done a change up. Now, looking at the dash, you're gonna get that 11.6-inch LED display, just like you have on an Outback, just like you have in a Legacy. You can see the manual transmission perfectly placed. Gone is that extra gauge pod. And I don't know how I feel about that, because if you look closely at the dash, you do have the analog gauges with a digital display in the center like before, but it looks like you could display things like boost gauge and other readouts and information. Also a new D-shaped steering wheel. There are the Recaros. The Recaros look sexy. I love the Alcantara material, the leather, the bolstering definitely looks more emphasized to hold you in place. I'm also liking the dash. And if you notice from the different photos here, they really went on a higher scale with the red stitching and the nice finishes. Not a ton of gloss black, which I'm happy to say and happy to see. And I think that this is really where Subaru kind of went a little bit further with the actual materials on the inside. Now, when it comes to the overall experience of driving this vehicle, we will have to wait and see, but I wanted to bring it to you. There it is. Once again, those are the standard seats with the WRX embroidery. AC vents look great, and I'm sure there's some good places for storage for Twinkies, but from what I've seen from the photos, there's no rear AC vents. So that's another thing that with a new model, you would think that they would bring the AC vents. I am happy to say that they kept the great trunk size. So when you're thinking about trunk space, you're looking at about 15 cubic feet of space. You could still fold down the seats and get up to 4 wheels with tires mounted. So if you're gonna go do that autocross, there's the seat. It's a 60-40 split. If you're gonna do the autocross, if you're gonna go do a track day, you definitely have that flexibility to bring a lot of things into your Subaru WRX. But let me know what you think in that comment section. I can't wait to see all of the different comments. I can't wait to see this car in person. Are you disappointed? Are you looking forward to it? Put it in the comment section, but we wanted to bring this just for you. If you're new to the channel and you like to see these kinds of things, leave a comment, hit that subscribe button, come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you, 2 ways to do it. Click the first link, become a Raiti's Rides Patreon member. Click the second link, get yourself some Raiti's Rides merch. Got to give it up to the wonderful, amazing Lori, setting up this production studio just for you. Show her some love in the comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.